Hello, my name is Paul Auger. I'm a teacher at Sanford High School, and we're coming to you from WSSR at Sanford High School in the Sanford Regional Technical Center. And we're going to be having a discussion today about the proposed town charter to become a city. And just to let you know a little bit about myself, I am a teacher here at Sanford High School. I teach advanced placement, government, and politics. And my wonderful students have been studying this issue for quite a while now, and we've come up with some thoughts and suggestions, and we generally want to help educate the people of Sanford and maybe ask some questions and answer some questions that you folks at home might have. And to help do that, we have 3 of the actual charter members themselves, the commissioners, right? Is that what they call you?
That's correct.
And you're all commissioners. So we have John Mapes, Judy Gibbs, and Bob Stackpole. And Bob, you were the chairman, if I remember right?
Yep.
John, you were the vice chairman?
Correct.
And Judy, you were a commissioner.
That's correct.
Great, so if we can get an answer out, it will be from one of you, hopefully. The town of Sanford, we've had it for over 200 years. What's the big rush to move to a city? First of all, why do we want to even consider doing this?
Well, it's not a big rush, is the first answer to that. It's not a big rush. It was something that was proposed in the existing charter, that when the population hit a certain threshold, that Sanford would automatically become a city. So this is not a new idea. But the reason why we've incorporated it into the charter revision that we've put together is really it's a name change to drive the town of Sanford into a new direction, hopefully a new direction with increased prosperity, and make it more attractive for people to want to locate their businesses in Sanford and also to live in Sanford. The city just, it's, you know, you can say what's in a name change, but there's a lot in the name change. And Judy has some specifics which you might want to comment about if you did a Google search for Sanford in Maine, what would you come up with, and contrast that with other cities that are in the locale.
Can you tell us a little bit, maybe Judy, about where are we in Maine as far as population? Isn't there a threshold you have to meet to be a city, or is that just something that people are wrong about?
So there is no threshold. The city of Eastport has less than 1,500 people, excuse me, 1,500. So Sanford is actually the 7th largest municipality in Maine. And out of the cities, Biddeford, Lewiston, Bangor, Portland, those are the ones that are larger than us. Augusta is a city, our capital, it's actually smaller than us. So we're 7th in line. And as Bob mentioned, if you Google cities in the state of Maine, Sanford won't come up. And if you Google towns, we'll be at the bottom because it's typically alphabetical.
Oh, yeah.
So you really get overlooked if you're a business wanting to come to this state, especially in southern Maine. We wouldn't even show up as a possibility.
Now, it's interesting that you mentioned that about the name of, changing to a city. I did a little informal poll in my class just today, and I asked my students, would you, if you didn't know anything about the town in the area, would you seem more inclined to do business with the city of Eastport or the town of Sanford if you didn't know anything? And most of them said, well, probably the city because it sounds more organized. And then I told them how big some of these little cities are in Maine, and they were surprised.
Right, and I think that's an excellent point, Paul, because the other thing we discussed was the fact that the name or the connotation of a city means that it has the services to support businesses, that it has the fire services, the safety services, police services, sewer, water, so on and so forth. Where if you look at a town, those services might not be available. So again, it makes us more attractive to a business that might be looking to relocate here in southern Maine.
I know what I've been hearing so far is that you've been saying that it should be better for business, it will probably attract more people, it's sort of rebranding the town. But now let's get down, we may come back to this, but let's get down to the real nuts and bolts of what will actually happen. So if we become a city, are we just changing the name on the letterhead? Because as you know, right now we've had a town meeting form of government since 1768. And we've been getting budgets passed every year. So what will happen to town meeting, for example, if we become a city?
Well, let me grab that for a second. It was interesting this year, the town meeting, with 68 people in attendance, actually increased the budget from what the finance committee, the councilors, and the town manager had already approved. Not by a lot. Typically, there should be 105 members of town meeting in attendance. Only 68 showed up and voted on the municipal side of the budget. Whereas in June, the referendum question for the school budget, 350 people voted. So eliminating town meeting will actually result in a greater participation in voters voting for or against the municipal budget.
And thank you for bringing that up. For many years, now from a little historical perspective, a lot of towns in Maine have the town meeting form of government. It is the most democratic form of government you can have, but at a certain level it becomes really impractical because you can imagine that's why we moved to a representational town meeting in Sanford. Because if we had a very exciting article come up at town meeting, theoretically we could have 10 or 11,000 people show up to vote. And that would be pretty hard to count those ballots and motions. So I think it was the 1950s, I can't remember exactly what year it was, but we modeled the town on representational town meeting, and the problem we've been having, and you've done a great job of documenting this, is we've been having a decline in people running for town meeting. And you had a few statistics about
Judy's got
that
some
too.
great statistics as far as the number of appointed versus elected, but I'll let Judy move to that.
And before you do that, I just want to mention what's required in Sanford to be a town meeting member is you need to go to the town clerk's office or the registrar of voters, now I'm not sure which one's doing it. You need to take out a petition, get 10 signatures from people within your ward, and then you get on the ballot. And what we've been seeing lately is we usually, in fact, I ran for town meeting, I think I was the only one in my ward. But you've got some statistics on that, if you can fill us in.
So I'll start with the history. So we started with 189 seats, and in 1980 we actually dropped that to 147 because people weren't participating. And we dropped it again down to 105 just a few years ago, again because people weren't participating. Out of that 105, we typically get roughly 70 to 80% filled, but less than half of those are actually elected. Most of those are appointed. So currently this year, for example, we have 71 vacancies, and there are only 7 candidates on the ballot, which, that's less than 10%. There are actually 3 wards that have 0 people running. So it's not a contested race.
Well, the theme is, why take out papers? Why go on the ballot? It's easy, you can just get appointed.
That's correct.
We've had to do that in my ward, and I know several other wards, is we have to go out and find people who would want to serve for that one evening and hope that they'll read all the paperwork. And we don't know if they do. I think we've been pretty lucky with the people that we've gotten, some excellent volunteers. But it's sort of, I think it might go against the spirit of what we're trying to do in town.
Well, that gets to the spirit of this, too. How many people have actually read the existing charter? Never mind understand it. It took me 18 months as part of this commission to really flow with it and understand it. So I don't expect most people to really understand it. Yet the biggest hurdle you started with already is the city. It's an all-inclusive process in this charter. It's a matter of rebranding, and you brought that up earlier. City, we're just trying to shine up this great municipality and make it, from a presentation standpoint, a better place to do business, a better place in order to attract business.
Okay, so town meeting will be gone.
Yes.
Correct.
And the way things work now is the town council comes up with a budget, if I'm not mistaken.
Town manager.
Town manager comes up with it.
City manager.
And, well, it might be, but right now the town manager comes up with a budget, the town council goes over their version, they approve it, and then we have the finance group that go over it also. And I believe the finance's recommendation is the motion on the floor of the town meeting.
Yes, it is.
So we really have three different bodies going over it. And I saw a chart, and I know this from having been a town meeting member for a long time, that the end result is usually nearly identical to what the original budget was, even though we're having town meeting.
Actually, town meeting has been increasing the budget for the last 3 years. So what town meeting recommends is higher than what the finance committee has proposed. And it typically is more similar to what the town manager originally proposed, and sometimes higher. So town meeting is actually increasing the budget.
All right, now will we get rid of, will this finance group still be in existence if we pass that?
Yes, I mean, the form of it, yes, it's restructured. It's called Budget Committee. And I want to emphasize, and I'm going to answer your question in just a minute, but you know, our overarching words that we pin to this is to design a modern governmental structure that's going to bring efficiency, expediency, and accountability to the municipal businesses of the town and the educational responsibilities of the town. And so that's really what we were looking for when we put together this governmental structure, the flow of budget development. We wanted it to be efficient, we wanted it to be expedient, and we wanted there to be accountability through the whole process. So, for instance, I've heard, we'll pick on the town councilors for just a second. I've heard from someone I know that people approached them and said, well, how come you raise taxes so much this year? And of course the town councilor's reply wasn't me that did it, it was the town meeting members that voted that through. So everyone's confused about who's accountable for what. And so we want to bring that accountability to the process so people can look at the individuals that are in office and say they're doing a good job, they're not doing a good job, and they deserve to get reelected, they don't deserve to get reelected, and move on. Specifically going back to the budget development process, you have, for instance, you'll have the superintendent of schools who will develop his or her budget on the school side, and you have the town manager to put this forward, the city manager, who will develop his or her budget on the municipal side. That will then, they'll merge together, that budget process will merge together in a public hearing, which anyone who wants to attend can attend this meeting.
And will it be televised?
It will be televised.
Okay.
And raise any concerns that they have. And that budget, those two factions will be assimilated into one budget. That budget then goes to the budget committee. And the budget committee reviews it and makes sure that the expenditures that are proposed are realistic. They're within goals that have been set, for instance, by the city council, goals that have been set by the school board. And then once that's been done, and there's a time period for that, I think we gave them 30 days to move that forward, then that budget will go to the city council. And the city council then reviews it again, puts it through another review process, and votes on it, and that finalizes the budget. Ultimately, then, that goes out to the voters, and the voters get to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, the whole budget thumbs up. So there's a voter validation piece that comes into play. So it's expedient in that we've reduced the number of steps. There's accountability as we go through those steps. But ultimately, the voters get to choose, can we afford this or can't we afford this? And send it back and say, we want more, we want less. And actually, there's no provision that says we want more, but so that message would have to get out, or we want less, and by voting it up or voting it down.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, because you would think that with eliminating town meeting, things wouldn't be more democratic, but from my point of view, it seems that now that the voters, every registered voter will be able to vote on the budget and not just the town meeting members.
That's right.
So that's very interesting.
The representative town meeting is not representative anymore. It just isn't. I mean, I think that's very plain, very obvious. And in this way, we have greater vote. Any registered voter, as you just said, will have an opportunity to chime in on whether they like this budget or they don't like it. It just won't be the people who get involved with the town meeting process.
Okay, so we've gotten rid of town meeting. We have the budget committee, who will get the budget from the town manager and the school superintendent.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will go to the town council. Now, will the town council work on the budget, or is it the school committee?
There are 3 town councilors
Okay.
who will be working with 4 appointed budget review members. So a group of 7 will hash out the details before it gets voted on.
So they'll be involved in that process all along.
Yeah.
Great.
And Paul, I need to just correct something real quick. The superintendent will propose his budget to the school committee, and the school committee
Okay.
will approve the budget. So we're not bypassing the
Great.
school committee in this process. The superintendent, school committee,
And that's probably state law anyway.
yeah, it's the same as
Yeah.
what has been done in the past, but yeah, it is probably state law. Yeah.
Great. And now another nuts and bolts issue. I keep hearing things about a mayor. I'm a little scared. Now, what kind of mayor is this going to be? Because I know from teaching government, there are strong mayors, and I use that in quotations, a strong mayor form of a city where would be somebody like Mayor Menino, who has a great deal of power and authority. And then there's, you might call it a weak mayor. Which one are we going to have? Are we going to have an overlord here, or what's this mayor going to be? How is it going to be chosen?
I just want to throw the term out, and then I can see that John would like to answer the question, but the term we like to use is councilor mayor, okay?
Yeah.
He or she will be a member of the council, and so, again, we weren't real fond of the strong, weak scenarios, but so we're using the term councilor mayor.
I like that better, actually.
Yeah, we chose not to use the words strong and weak, because it does confuse people. Portland is a strong mayor, and they're probably paying him $100,000 a year as an office and a staff, maybe.
Yep.
What we're doing is, for the most part, changing the title chairman of the council to mayor of the council. Currently, the councilors by themselves elect the chair. We're saying this mayor will be elected by the voters of Sanford. We will elect the leader of the council, not the council itself. This mayor, and again, a weak mayor, that doesn't mean he or she can't have a strong personality. We hope that he or she does.
Absolutely.
We don't need a weak mayor. This individual will not earn any more money than the current chair of the council. This mayor will earn no more than 25% of what the other councilors make.
Which really isn't that much.
We as a commission, we knew we couldn't spend more money. And this charter does not do that. We're not spending any more money.
In fact, I know at least from the town meeting perspective, it'll be saving money, because all those employees that have to be on the clock and preparing town meeting and printing the budgets and delivering them and putting them in the mail and showing up that night.
Also, the nonprofits that the town gives money to, which is an issue, and that's for another time, they have to go to all of these meetings and defend what they'd like to have, and still go to town meeting and wonder if they're going to get what has been proposed.
Yep.
Past town meeting, one nonprofit received more money.
I think that's happened a few years.
Yeah,
So
going back to the words efficiency, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the efficient piece that we're trying to build into this. People won't have to go out multiple nights. There's not multiple stages that this budget has to go through. What we call is going to go in a straight line. It's not going to come here and jump over to this group and back to this group and down here and up to here. It goes in a straight line to the voter validation.
now, we've already been moving in this direction for a while, because I'm sure you're old enough to remember, because I know I am, about town meeting. We used to make all the decisions. You couldn't even get a street name approved or a road paved or anything unless it was approved at town meeting. And in Sanford, we wanted to get more efficient, so town meeting was only used to approve financial issues. So this is going even a step further to become even more efficient and probably more business friendly, I would say.
I
More
would say,
attractive.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Now this mayor, if the charter passes, the new charter, when is the mayor going to be elected? Because how soon would it take effect?
The election would be in 2013. So if the charter gets passed this November, starting January 1st, all the changes to the charter begin except for the mayor. So the first year, the council will continue to elect their own mayor, so to speak.
There's an interim mayor,
There's an,
isn't there?
yeah, that's interim, because it's the way the election cycle is. You really would have had to have a special election if you wanted to put a mayor in 2013. So 2013 in November, you'll choose the mayor for 2014 going
Now,
forward.
what if we had an election in May? Because sometimes we do.
You could, but the way that the charter is written right now, that's not the provision.
Okay.
We also thought that maybe giving it a little more time,
Yeah.
presuming the charter passes, give the council and the community time to adjust, and to have some individuals who might want to run for this position, give them some time to think of a platform, think of what the community needs. And I suspect there'll be some great individuals willing to run. A little bit of ego involved to be the first mayor of
Oh, yeah.
the new city of Sanford.
Now,
Can I just talk a little bit about the mayor position also from the aspect of leadership? Because that's the other piece that we're working on. We really felt that there's a leadership void in Sanford. There is no group or group of individuals that are the true leaders of the town of Sanford. The idea of having a mayor who's elected at large, he's elected or she is elected by the people. That individual is going to have a platform, they're going to have to speak to what their vision is of Sanford, and they're going to be using their agenda powers with the city council in order to bring their vision to fruition. And we were talking about what would be the measuring stick for the mayor, because they're really not involved with specifically financial issues and those kind of things. The measuring stick or yardstick that would be used would be how well they are at accomplishing those things that was their vision, you know, those things that they wanted to accomplish, and making Sanford a more livable community, if you will. And that would be the yardstick that would be used. The other thing is you have an individual who, when you're looking for a ceremonial person, you know, a ribbon cutting type of individual, it's going to be the mayor. That individual is going to be the person that gets their picture in the paper and also serve as the primary contact for the city of Sanford. That who do I talk to if I want to know more about this or I want to know more about that? Well, you call the mayor, and the mayor then is able to be the gatekeeper and passing you on to other city departments in order to get things done. Yeah.
So I'd like to say something about the mayor too. You know, we did a very rigorous decision analysis technique to come up with the form of government that ended up in the proposed charter. And there were some crucial items that we used to determine this. Cost was one of them, and John already alluded to that we wanted this leadership, but we didn't want to add the burden of cost of paying a full-time mayor and a staff. But we also wanted the people to have a choice. So we kind of modeled this between, you talked about weak mayor, strong mayor. We're sort of in the middle. So the people are electing this mayor, which typically doesn't happen in a true weak mayor situation. It does in Augusta. Augusta has this type of government. So we're giving the people a choice, and that sort of leads to that mayor having leadership sort of surround them, because they've been elected, so they have to lead. But again, it doesn't add the cost. So to me, it was a good balance between what's good about both types of mayors.
and if the townspeople don't like theoretically,
Yes.
if the townspeople don't like the direction the mayor is taking the town, they won't have to wait very long to get a new mayor.
Yes,
2
that's
years.
correct.
2 years.
2 years.
That's
Right.
not a long,
Yeah.
that makes the mayor very responsive to the people, or hopefully very responsive.
Exactly.
Now, do we have to worry about the mayor getting too much power? I mean, how many terms can the mayor serve? Is it unlimited?
3 consecutive 2-year terms.
Right.
Okay, consecutive, so that they missed a 2-year and, you know, they could come back in, but it's 3 consecutive 2-year terms. The mayor doesn't have any veto power. The only power that the mayor has is the agenda power. He or she would set the agenda for the city council meetings. And that's really the only power that they have. It's kind of interesting because when we talk to people, we kind of get beat up on both sides of this, and I mean that with all respect. There's many people who think that we shouldn't have this council mayor, we should have just gone with a strong mayor, which was something we didn't feel that the community was ready for. It was too radical a step. And there were other people who think that even the councilor mayor, we really should have had the weak mayor scenario, and there's really not much point to doing it. It's just a figurehead, so on and so on and so forth. But it really is that leadership piece. That's what we were looking for. We were looking for an individual who, you know, you can call it accountability, but it really is leadership, who will be able to step up to the plate and really have a vision for Sanford and work with everybody. There's not going to be any brute force here. There's not going to be any bullying to get stuff done. The only way they're going to get stuff done is through persuasion and compromise and working with other people.
Well, there's a fair amount of emotion tied to this.
Oh, I can
If
imagine.
you can just, and Judy did a great job directing us with the facts. And if we could get the community, the voters to do that, that's why I said I'm really interested in what the students have to say about this. Because it is about their future, and I believe the voters need to think about that. It isn't about us that have graduated 30 years ago. It's about the kids today.
What happens to Springvale if we become a city?
But I was talking to Rick Stanley about that the other day. It's funny because Rick and I both live in Springvale, and if I'm not mistaken, I just paid my taxes to Sanford. So, and every time when I'm away, even in Maine, they say, "Where do you live?" I say, "I live in Springvale," and they say, "Where's that?" I said, "It's Sanford." Oh, so I tell people I live in Sanford. My Springville neighbors may not like that, but nothing happens to Springvale.
Yeah.
They remain the village of Springvale. That is really just a name. And it's a marketing thing too.
Is there anything going to happen to the post office because of this?
Oh, but we don't run the post office.
Post office, if the government wakes up someday, they should close the Springville post
Okay.
office.
Now, I called, just to try to be a good knowledgeable person, I called up the postmaster and said, if we become a city, is that going to change the name of Springvale? She says, they have nothing to do with that. That's completely up to the town or the city to name whatever part of town they want.
So let's be clear. There is nothing in this charter that changes the identity of Springvale at all.
Nothing.
Nothing.
It
Except
doesn't,
they'll have a mayor now.
Yes.
They can say,
As much as they consider themselves a part of Sanford, they'll have a mayor.
and Springville is part of Sanford, like
Yes.
South
Correct.
Sanford is
Sure.
part of Sanford.
It's still, the town of Sanford, village of Springville, it will be the city of Sanford and the village of Springville. I mean, there is no
Doesn't
change.
Okay, that'll be a great comfort to many people, I think.
No change.
Or at least 1/7 of the town, anyway. All right, so the charter, if people have taken time to read it, it's quite extensive. But if I looked at the great handout that you did here, the little printed copy, and really you're not changing that much. I mean, it's more the organizational change of the town. Is there anything else? I mean, are we changing code enforcement or the police department or the school department, or is there anything else that's being changed?
the only two areas you haven't talked about is the capital improvement plan and the ordinance change. Ordinance being, the best example is pay-as-you-throw. The councilors enacted pay-as-you-throw while a citizens initiative was being undertaken.
Mhm.
And I always refer to Troy Henke because it's kind of his signature piece. He said, if the councilors are trying to propose a new, something in the community, and enough citizens have enough signatures, the councilors cannot enact that ordinance until the voters have had their say. So that is a change. I don't know if I was clear enough with that.
That makes the town more responsive to the voters,
Right.
to the citizens.
Absolutely.
And the other is the CIP. I don't know where you all want to go with that.
Now, if you could explain what the CIP is.
It's a capital improvement plan. If the community wants to spend money on, I'll use the example of fire trucks and police cars, school improvements, that's where the money's come from. While our roads continue to erode. What we've said is, we'll keep the current 2% that's in the current charter, and we're gonna add another 2%. It'll be exclusively used for infrastructure, meaning roads, sidewalks, which we need desperately. So that total of 4% will go from 2 to 2.5 to 3 to 3.5 to 4 each year. Currently, the town meeting just approved 3.9%. So in essence, we're there. But again, the new 2% will be used for roads and other infrastructure improvements.
And I know from having been a town meeting member, we've been kind of blindsided by not doing things like this a few times. If you remember the Memorial Gymnasium, we've done virtually nothing with that for decades. And then when we needed to fix it, it turns out we needed $1 million to fix the gymnasium. And again, with the roads, we haven't been spending the money maybe that we need to on the roads. And at town meeting this year, people were demanding that we fix them. I mean, it was literally becoming a safety issue.
This proposed charter repairs roads.
But it does it in a sort of an easy way. We probably won't see a giant 10% spike in the budget.
You shouldn't see that, especially since we're already at 3.9% for the CIP. To get to the 4%, which the charter says you have to get to in 4 years, that's only 0.1%. It's like $55,000.
Over 4 years.
Over 4 years,
Yeah.
right. So you're already almost at the 4% now. So we shouldn't see another huge hike from the CIP. There could be other reasons that the spending goes up, but not for the CIP.
If the citizens say no tax increase, yet we want to spend an additional 2% fixing roads, they're gonna have to find it somewhere else.
And that makes a lot of sense. So it's becoming more responsive. And so we'll have a mayor, we get rid of town meeting, and there's nothing else in here being changed except for CIP, capital improvement plan,
Right.
and
The name change.
yeah, and the name change.
But also, it was important to us that this charter revision didn't have an impact on the budget. There, once again, is nothing in this current charter that will raise taxes. And you'll hear people say, well, if you vote for the charter, taxes are gonna go up. Well, you know what? Taxes are probably gonna go up anyways, right? So
Well, they usually do.
that's a safe place for any
Yeah.
politician or anybody to be in town, is to say, you know what, taxes are gonna go up. Well, you know, yeah, they probably are. But it won't be because of anything in this
In this
charter. Again, this 1% in the CIP, use that number, 55,000 over 4 years is really insignificant in terms of how that would raise the budget. So there isn't anything in here, and the mayor won't cost us anymore. The change over to city won't cost us anymore, other than the rebranding. You use up the old letterhead, you're going to have new letterhead printed, and so on and so forth. There just isn't anything in here that's going to increase the taxes.
Well, every time we get a new counselor, we have to get new letterhead, don't we?
I
mean,
suppose.
yes.
I don't think, changing a few letters wouldn't make much of a difference, so.
There's a lot of rebranding here. You talk about the high school mascot, talk about a new high school in the near future. Going from a city and a mayor. It's all about modifying our economic personalities, what I'm trying to get across to people. We're trying to shake it up and clean up our community and be a better place to want to live and work in. Something to be more proud of.
And be I think I read in the charter, one of the goals is for Sanford to become the economic center of your county.
Mhm.
That's one of the
Right.
goals.
It's the physical center, so it should be the economic center.
Yeah, we're literally, when we were looking at schools, we are actually dead center, right in the middle of York County.
There's a lot of migration from folks from our south moving into York County. It's less costly for them to move here.
That's great. Is there anything you think we haven't talked about that, or I haven't asked that you might
Well,
want to let
the
people
one
know
thing,
about?
one thing kind of in conclusion here that was a point I know we all wanted to make was that you know, there's a lot of rumors or gossip or whatever that's out there in the community about this charter. And of course, there are going to be people who think this is a great idea. There's going to be other people who are not so sure or maybe think it's a bad idea. And that's democracy, and that's the way things work. So what we would ask as the entire Charter Commission is that people take the time to find a copy of the charter and read the charter. You don't have to study it. It's pretty plain. Take some time, sit down, read the charter so that they understand what they're voting for, and don't just listen to what their neighbors have to say or somebody else in the community. Don't listen to what we have to say. Go and read the charter for yourself and make up your own mind. I feel positive that, and I'm sure that my fellow commissioners here feel positive too, that if people take the time to read the charter, they're going to vote in favor for it. Okay, we're moving Sanford into the 21st century. The economy has been kind of in a downturn for the last several years, and what we want to do as a community is innovate through those down years so that when the economy comes back, we have the pieces in place and we're ready to get moving in a positive direction so that we have a streamlined government that can be responsive to the citizens, that can be responsive to the businesses that want to relocate here, and it's an attractive setting that people will want to come and live in this community. And that's what this charter is all about. It is future focused.
Well, I want to thank you for, expressing that so well. Now, where this is the little copy of the charter, and it's really there's not that much to it.
Mm-hmm.
Where can we get a copy of this if I want to go out and get one? I already have mine.
Right.
Both libraries and the town hall, the three locations I could think of quickly. And within it, there's a very simple comparative analysis that goes article by article. If you did nothing but read that, you'd see there are very few changes taking place.
That was great, and again, my seniors found it very accessible,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a great time. Well, I don't know if they had a great time reading it, but it was very easy to understand.
Yeah, it's
And
also
I love the comparison that you did in there.
it's also online, Paul. You can go to the.
Now where is it
website.
online?
It's in the Charter Commission section off the Sanford website, and we're also going to do some more mailings, some inserts in the Observer, and we are doing another mailing. No.
I believe yes.
Okay. So we don't have any more mailings going out, but we've put this out already in several different places, and it's very accessible. I think someone made the comment that if you can't find a copy of this to read, then you're not looking too hard. I mean, it's out there, and it's very accessible.
Yeah. Well, again, I want to thank you, and I thought we could, before I give the rest of our thank yous, I'll read the actual question.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we'll be voting on November 6th. Shall the municipality approve the new charter recommended by the Charter Commission? Very simple.
Yeah.
Shall the municipality approve the new charter recommended by the Charter Commission?
And to follow up on that, that follows state law.
Mm-hmm.
That's the wording from state law. So there's no
Okay.
controversy over, well, where's the rest of the information? The rest of the information isn't supposed to be there. That's what people are supposed to be voting on, the actual wording. So you need to go get a copy and read it so that you know what you're voting on.
And I think what Bob's getting at is the Charter Commission did not create that question. And it's very simple. If you want the new charter, you vote yes. If you don't want the new charter, you vote no. It's not a trick question. It's a very simple question.
I like the wording myself. But now, I've recently learned that there's actually a network of mayors. I didn't even know this. There's a network of mayors in Maine, and if that's true and they meet, does that mean we're not getting represented?
Paul, I'm not sure that it's an official anything, but the mayors in the state, if there's a, a high-profile topic, those group of mayors can go to Augusta, whether they meet with the governor himself or one of his key assistants. Sanford's not there. With this new form of government, Sanford would be included. They'd be at the table. They'd have a voice. The citizens of Sanford would be recognized in Augusta, where today they're not.
I have to tell you, as a lifelong citizen here, I don't like the idea that there's a group of mayors that are elected by the people that are speaking for the people of Maine, and we're not represented. So this would rectify that
Absolutely.
in one way. So that's another bright side of having a mayor in a city form of government.
For the seventh largest municipality in the state to not be in Augusta with a voice lobbying for the betterment of our community, that's not good.
Great. Well, that would be another great plus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I also want to mention as well as the charter being available online at sanfordmaine.org under Charter Commission, you still have comments available, and as well as having various copies around town. If you stay abreast of the local newspapers, we have the Observer, the Sanford News, and the Journal Tribune in particular, there will be information about the charter coming out in those. So stay tuned to your local papers also.
I wanted to ask Paul one question. Will you be airing live on election night this year?
We will. We will. We hope to do that again. We've been doing it for, boy, this might be our 10th year, possibly, doing it. I can't believe it's been going on that long. And as a presidential election, it's probably going to be an all-nighter again. So 4 years ago, we left the town hall at 5 or 5:30 in the morning. And I kind of hope that doesn't happen again. But we will do whatever it takes to give the voters of Sanford immediate feedback, especially with this new charter question coming up.
Very
so
important.
If you tune into Channel 12, or we might even be able to simulcast it through the high school, you will get instant results as soon as anybody can get them. Well, I want to thank Bob, Judy, and John, former Charter Commission members, now regular citizens again, for all the time you put into it, and I don't think the town can thank you enough for the hours that you put into this. And I know you certainly didn't get paid for what you were doing. You did it out of the love for the town and wanting to see the town improve. And we'll end up seeing what happens. So I want to thank you for coming, and I especially want to thank WSSR right here in Sanford, our great TV station, and the crew that's all here helping out. And we look forward to maybe doing more programs. And if you have any questions, you can look up the charter yourself. You can ask a town council person. And I wouldn't even mind if you want to ask, send an email to me. My address is pauger@sanford.org. And maybe we'll have a student portion of this, and we'll bring it up then.
And anything that you get that you need an answer to, Paul, you figure out how to forward to one of us, and we'll
Great.
get back to you with an answer.
I appreciate that. So from Sanford High School, the Sanford Regional Technical Center, thank you very much for watching. Become an educated voter, and please vote. Thank you.